Welcome to Hockey Wiz Talks podcast. In this podcast, I'll be talking about why the New York Islanders are struggling this season. In this podcast, I'll be talking about the struggles of the New York Islanders this season and what could be done to fix them. The New York Islanders are currently in 5th place in the Metropolitan Division and hold a record of 23-20-7 for 53 points in 50 games with 138 goals for and 143 goals against. The Owls have a 12-11-2 record at home and an 11-9-5 record on the road. The Owls are on a 6-game win streak and are 8-2-0 in their last 10 games. As bad as the Islanders have played early in the season, they are only 4 points behind Tampa for the first wildcard spot and 4 points behind Columbus for the second wildcard spot. With the Islanders on a winning streak now, it may alter their plans heading into the trade deadline, as before the current winning streak, they would have been sellers. The New York Islanders have had a tough start to the 24-25 season, and several factors seem to be contributing to their struggles. Here are some of the key issues. Inconsistent offense, as the Islanders have struggled to score consistently. While they have some talented offensive players, they haven't been able to put it together on a nightly basis. This has led to a lot of close losses and a lack of firepower and a lack of offensive firepower when they need it most. Defensive lapses, while the Islanders have typically been a strong defensive team, they have had some uncharacteristic breakdowns this season. They've given up too many high-quality scoring chances and haven't been able to consistently shut down opposing teams. Goaltending struggles. The Islanders have relied heavily on Ilya Sorokin in recent years, but they haven't gotten the same level of performance this season. A lot is due to the injury to Semyon Varlamov, as they don't have a reliable backup to Sorokin, causing them to lean heavily on Sorokin. At times, especially during the early part of the season, goaltending was inconsistent, which hurt the team's ability to win close games. Special team struggles. The Islanders' special teams have been a major disappointment. Their power play has struggled to generate goals, and their penalty kill has been among the league's worst. This has put them at a significant disadvantage in many games. Injuries. The Islanders have been hit with some key injuries, such as to Matt Barzal early in the season and Noah Dobson right now, which have further hampered their performance. They've had to play without some important players for stretches of time, which has disrupted their lineup and chemistry. It's still relatively early in this season, and the Islanders still have time to turn things around. However, they need to address these issues quickly if they want to get back on track and contend for a playoff spot. And now a word from our sponsor. Check out my scouting blog at hockeywiz777scouting.com. Listen to my scouting blog podcast on podcasters.spotify.com/pod/show/hockeywiz777scouting. The New York Islanders have struggled with offensive consistency throughout the 24-25 season. Here is a breakdown of those issues. The key problems include lack of urgency in shot volume, inconsistent effort, special team struggles, a slow start, and lack of depth scoring. In some games, the Islanders have shown a lack of urgency and failed to generate enough shots on goals, especially high danger scoring chances. The team has struggled to maintain a consistent level of play throughout games and even within periods. This has led to an uneven offensive production. The Islanders' power play has been among the league's worst, hindering their ability to capitalize on opportunities. Their penalty kill has been a liability as well. The team has frequently fallen behind early in games, forcing them to play catch-up and often struggling to overcome them. The Islanders have relied too heavily on their top stars, with limited contributions from bottom lines. Additional factors include injuries and coaching. The injuries have dealt with injuries to key players, which have impacted their offensive production. The team's coaching staff may need to make adjustments to their system or strategies to better utilize the team's offensive capabilities. Overall, the New York Islanders need to address their offensive inconsistencies. This will require a collective effort from the players, coaches, and management. While the New York Islanders have historically been known for their defensive solidarity, they've had some defensive breakdowns this season that have cost them games. Here's a look at some of the key issues. They have inconsistent defensive zone coverage. They have breakdowns in communication. They take too many penalties, commit too many turnovers, and at times lack physicality. At times, the Islanders have struggled with their defensive zone coverage, leaving players open in high danger areas. This has led to opponents getting quality scoring chances. There have been instances where communication breakdowns between defensemen and forwards have led to missed assignments and scoring opportunities for the opponent. The Islanders take too many penalties, putting their penalty kill unit in tough situations. While the PK has improved as the season progressed, it's still not where it needs to be, and take too many penalties disrupts the flow of the game. The Islanders have coughed up the puck in their own zone too frequently, leading to dangerous scoring chances against. While they have some physical players, the Islanders sometimes lack consistent physicality needed to clear out the front of the net and win puck battles in the D zone. Because of these defensive lapses, it has led to goals against, loss of momentum, and increased pressure on goaltending. It's important to note that the Islanders have shown stretches of strong defensive play this season. If they can clean up these lapses and play more consistent defensively, they can be a much tougher team to play against. I touched on their special team struggles briefly before, but I need to emphasize that the Islanders' special teams has been a major Achilles heel for the Islanders this season, significantly impacting their overall performance. They've had both power play woes and penalty kill woes. The cause of their power play woes include a lack of creativity and movement, inefficient zone entries, a lack of shooting mentality, and poor personnel decision. The Islanders' power play often looks stagnant, with predictable passing patterns and lack of movement from players and the puck. This makes it easy for penalty killers to anticipate and defend. They sometimes struggle to cleanly enter the zone on the power play, wasting valuable time and momentum. There's often a hesitation to shoot the puck, with too much passing and not enough shots directed at the net. While they have some skilled players, the power play units have not found the right chemistry or a consistent formula for success. Their penalty kill problems include the inability to clear the zone, a lack of aggression, and goaltending struggles. The Islanders sometimes struggle to clear the puck out of the zone when shorthanded, leading to extended pressure and scoring chances for the opponent. While they needed to be more disciplined, the penalty kill can sometimes be too passive, allowing opponents to set up in the zone and control possession. While Ilya Sorokin is still an elite goalie, he can't stop everything, and the PK struggles has put extra pressure on him. Because special teams have struggled this season, it has led to missed opportunities, goals against, and a loss of confidence. A poor power play means missed chances to score goals and gain momentum on the power play. A leaky penalty kill leads directly to goals against, often shifting momentum of the game, and struggles on special teams can erode the team's confidence, affecting their play in all areas of the game. Improving their special teams is crucial for the Islanders to become a more consistent and competitive team. It's an area that needs to be addressed quickly. Check out my hockey blog at hockeywiztalkshockey.blogspot.com. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at hockeywiz777. The Islanders' tendency to start games slowly has been a recurring issue this season, and has often put them in a hole early on. The problem is that they're falling behind early, they lack intensity, they have defensive lapses, and offensive struggles. The Islanders have frequently given up the first goal of the game, and have found themselves trailing early on in games. This forces them to play catch-up and can disrupt their game plan. In some games, they lack intensity and focus at the start of the game, leading to sluggish play. Slow starts often leads to defensive lapses, missed assignments, and turnovers in their own zone, which directly leads to goals against. The offense can be slow to start, with a lack of shots on goal and difficulty generating scoring chances, especially in the first. The reason why the Islanders are falling behind early is because of a lack of pre-game preparation, poor tactical approach, lackadaisical player mindset, and the opponent's game plan. There might be some issues with the team's pre-game routine or mental preparation that is affecting their readiness at puck drop. The coaching staff's tactical approach at the start of games might need to be adjusted. Perhaps they're too cautious or not aggressive enough. Individual players may need to focus on being mentally prepared to play from the opening faceoff. There might be a lack of urgency or a tendency to just ease into games. Sometimes the opponent's game plan and early pressure can catch the Islanders off guard. Because the Islanders are falling behind early, Because of these slow starts, they are constantly playing from behind, they have lost points in the standings, and falling behind early can give opponents a boost of momentum and confidence, making it more difficult for the Islanders to recover. Overcoming these slow starts is crucial for the Islanders to improve their consistency and achieve their goals this season. Like many teams, the Islanders have had their share of injury woes, and it has definitely impacted their performance. The Islanders have been hit hard with injuries on the blue line, with key defensemen like Adam Pelech, Ryan Pulock, and Noah Dobson missing significant time. This has forced them to rely on younger and less experienced defensemen, which has impacted them defensively. They've also had some key forwards out with injuries, including Matt Barzal and Anthony Duclair at the beginning portion of the season. These players are important to the team's offensive production, and their absence was definitely felt. Even in net, the Islanders have faced challenges, with Semyon Varlamov dealing with injuries. This meant more playing time for Sorokin and relying on third and fourth string backup goalies. Because of the injuries, the defense is noticeably weaker, the offense has struggled, the lines are constantly shuffling, there is increased pressure on the remaining players to carry the load. Injuries are a part of hockey, but the Islanders have had more than their fair share this season. How they manage their injuries and how their players respond will be a key factor for the remainder of the season. As the March 7th NHL trade deadline approaches, the New York Islanders have a decision to make regarding some key players on the roster and whether or not they want to move them. Islanders general manager Lou Lamoriello is known for being a shrewd negotiator. He is not afraid to make bold moves, but he is also patient and won't make a trade just for the sake of making a trade. If the New York Islanders are buyers, they need to add more offensive firepower, add more defensive depth, and get special teams help. As we have discussed before, the Islanders' offense can be inconsistent, so they could use a player who can consistently generate scoring chances and contribute to the goal total. This could be a top 6 forward or a depth scorer who can provide some punch. While their defense is generally solid, they have injuries to key defensemen like Noah Dobson and Ryan Pulock, so a reliable veteran defenseman who can play in different situations would be a valuable asset. If they can find a player who can contribute on the power play or penalty kill, that would also be a huge boost. If the New York Islanders are sellers, they need to trade veteran players on expiring contracts, players who haven't found their fit with the Islanders, and players who could fetch a good return. These players could be a valuable asset for a contending team. These players could be valuable rentals for contending teams. For players who haven't found a fit on the Islanders, a change of scenery would be beneficial for both the team and the player. The Islanders might also want to consider trading a player if they get a significant asset in return, such as a draft pick or a young prospect. Listen to Hockey Whiz Talks podcast on Podbean and Spotify. Check out my travel channel at youtube.com/HockeyWhizTravels. If the Islanders are buyers, they should make the following trades. New York Islanders trade Pierre Engvall, Anthony Duclair, and a second-round pick in 2025 to the Nashville Predators for Gustav Nyquist and Cole Smith. The Islanders dump Pierre Engvall's contract and trade Duclair along with the second-round pick to the Predators in exchange for veteran forwards Gustav Nyquist and Cole Smith. New York Islanders also trade Maxim Slivkov, Simon Holmstrom, and Jacob Sarek to the Ottawa Senators for David Perron with 50% retained, and Tom Forsberg and a third-round pick in 2026. The Islanders add David Perron to help strengthen the power play, and Anton Forsberg to back up Ilya Sorokin. This is the buyers lineup. First line is the same as it is right now with Anders Lee, Bo Horvat, and Matt Barzal. Second line is Gustav Nyquist, Brock Nelson, and Kyle Palmieri. Third line is Cole Smith, J.G. Pajot, and David Perron. Fourth line is Kissy Zizekas, Kyle McLean, and Mark Gatcomb. The first D pair is Adam Pelech and Scott Perunovich. Second D pair is Alexander Romanov and Tony DeAngelo. Third D pair is Isaac George and Scott Mayfield. Goalies are Ilya Sorokin and Anton Forsberg. Here are the trades the Islanders make if they are sellers. New York Islanders trade Brock Nelson to the Minnesota Wild for Murat Kuznetsov, Ryan Hartman, and a first-round pick in 2026. Brock Nelson is a pending UFA, and if the Islanders aren't a contending team, Nelson will be one of the top trade targets in the NHL. In exchange for Nelson, the Islanders get Ryan Hartman, a middle six forward, Marat Kuznetsov, and a first-round pick. The New York Islanders also trade Kyle Palmieri to the Boston Bruins for Justin Brazeau and a second-round pick in 2026. If the Bruins make it to the second round of the playoffs, the second-round pick will become a first-round pick. Kyle Palmieri is a pending UFA, and if the Islanders aren't a contending team, Palmieri will be highly sought after. In exchange for Palmieri, the Islanders get Brazeau and a conditional second-round pick that could turn into a first. Sellers lineup. First line is the same as in scenario A, with Brock Nelson, with Bo Horvat centering Anders Lee and Matt Barzal. Second line is Marat Kuznetsov centering Anthony Duclair and Ryan Hartman. Third line is J.G. Pageau centering Maxim Stefikov and Simon Holmstrom. Fourth line is Kyle McLean centering Casey Cizikas and Justin Brazeau. The D pairs are the same as in lineup A. Goalies are Ilya Sorokin and Jacob Skarek. The Islanders' approach will depend on their performance in the coming weeks and their assessment of their team's potential to contend this season. Their approach at the deadline will determine on if the team continues to tread water with their current core or if they decide to retool a little bit and build around their young players. In my next podcast, I'll be talking about why the Chicago Blackhawks are struggling this season.